cold. That was the first thing I felt. Not pain. Not confusion. Just cold. It seeped into my bones, as if I had been lying there for hours. No longer. Slowly, I opened my eyes. The ceiling above me was cracked. Old wood, stained and worn, like it hadn't been repaired in years. A faint draft slipped through somewhere, brushing against my skin. I frowned. This wasn't my room. I pushed myself up. My body felt heavier than expected, sleeves sliding down my arms, long, unfamiliar fabric. Ancient. My breath caught. No way. My voice sounded different. Softer. Younger. I looked down at my hands. Not mine. Smaller. Paler. And then. It hit me. Memories flooded in. Not mine, yet painfully clear. A prince. Useless. Silent. Ignored. Bullied. Forgotten. My grip tightened on the thin blanket. Su Ling. That name. Of course I knew it. My best friend wouldn't stop talking about this novel. He dies alone, you know. No one even notices he's gone. A quiet, disbelieving laugh escaped me. You've got to be kidding me. Out of all characters, I became him. The one who doesn't even get a proper ending. A sudden noise outside broke my thoughts. Footsteps. Then voices. Did you deliver his food? Why bother? He won't complain. Still, if he dies, we'll get blamed. Ha. As if anyone cares about that prince. Silence. Then fading footsteps. I didn't move for a long time. So this is how it is. No servants waiting. No respect. Not even basic care. I glanced around the room. Broken furniture. Dust in every corner. A faint drip echoing somewhere. This wasn't a prince's residence. It was abandonment. I exhaled slowly and forced myself to stand. My legs were weak but usable. Good. At least I wasn't completely helpless. When I stepped outside, the courtyard looked no better. Weeds. Cracked stone. Empty space. Like this place had been erased from the palace. So this is where you lived. The original Su Ling. The one who endured all this, silently. My chest tightened. Idiot. If it were me. No. It is me now. A sudden sound caught my attention. I turned. A young servant was kneeling on the ground, trembling. Another servant stood over him, holding a stick. I told you to do it properly. Please. I'll fix it. The stick rose again. Something in me snapped. Hey. My voice cut through the air. Sharp. Cold. Both of them froze. Why, Your Highness? I walked forward slowly. Bullying someone weaker than you, I said, my gaze fixed on the stick. Does that make you feel strong? Silence. This is none of Your Highness's concern. I stepped closer. If it happens in front of me, I said calmly. It becomes my concern. My tone wasn't loud. But it carried authority. The servant faltered, then lowered the stick. I understand. He left. Just like that. Thank you, Your Highness. The kneeling boy looked at me, eyes wide. Get up, I said. He stood, still shaking. I turned away. Next time, defend yourself. A pause. Or run. Back in my room, I sat down slowly. And for the first time, I smiled. Just a little. So this is the story, huh? A useless prince. A silent one. A forgotten one. I looked up at the cracked ceiling. Then let's change it. A pause. I'm not dying like this. The next morning. Nothing changed. Cold food. Late delivery. No respect. The servant didn't even bow. He just dropped the tray and left. Right. So this is my position. Even after yesterday. Nothing changed. Or maybe they just didn't take me seriously. A soft knock came. Come in. The door opened slowly. It was the same servant from yesterday. Why, Your Highness? Your name? L. Linen. Linen. Why are you here? I came to thank you. You already did. Silence. Then. No one has ever helped me before. My hand paused briefly. Then remember it, I said. And next time, don't wait for someone to save you. Yes. A pause. Then. If Your Highness doesn't mind. I want to serve you. I looked at him properly. Do you know who I am? Yes. Then you should know, staying with me won't get you anywhere. I know. But I still want to. Silence. Fine. His eyes widened. But don't expect anything from me. You already gave me enough. For the first time. The room didn't feel empty. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. Nothing improved on the surface. But inside. Everything changed. I stopped reacting. Started observing. Listening. Remembering. Who speaks to whom? Who controls supplies? Who visits secretly at night? Nothing escaped me. At night. I became someone else. A name whispered across the city. A shadow. The shadow magistrate. A man in a black mask. A judge in the dark. Smugglers. Corrupt officials. Illegal traders. One by one. They disappeared. Fear works better than power. By day. I was still the useless prince. Ignored. Mocked. Invisible. But at night. They feared me. Winter settled quietly over the palace. Cold. Silent. Unforgiving. I stood alone in the courtyard, breath faintly visible in the air. 1 year. 17 when I arrived. Now. 18. 1 year of silence. 1 year of watching. 1 year of preparing. Because I knew exactly what comes next. My gaze lifted slightly toward the distant palace gates. Calm. Unshaken. It's about time. Behind me, Linen hesitated. Your Highness. But before he could ask, a sudden commotion erupted across the palace. Footsteps. Voices. Urgency. Then. A shout that echoed through every corridor. The Regent has returned. The air changed instantly. Servants rushed. Officials gathered. Princes hurried to the main hall. Excitement. Fear. Respect. I didn't move immediately. Instead. A faint smile touched my lips. Right on schedule. The hall was filled. Princes stood in rows. Ministers lined the sides. Everyone waiting. Tense. Anticipating. I stood at the very back. Like always. Invisible. Then. The doors opened. Slowly. He entered. Xiao Jun. Armor still dusted with the remains of war. Presence heavy enough to suffocate the room. Each step. Measured. Controlled. Absolute. The sound of his boots echoed like a countdown. No one dared to speak. No one dared to breathe loudly. Even the air felt frozen. So this is him. The man who would control the empire. The man who, in the original story, would destroy everything in his path. Everyone bowed deeply. I lowered my head as well. Perfectly. Calmly. But, just for a moment, my gaze lifted. And met his. Cold. Sharp. Unyielding. Time seemed to pause. You finally arrived. Not spoken aloud. Only in my mind. His eyes lingered. Just for a second longer than they should have. Then he looked away. Like nothing happened. Just like in the story. But I knew better. You noticed something. A faint smile formed as I lowered my gaze again. Good. That means the game has begun. I stood once again under the moon. Mask in hand. Looking toward the distant palace. You don't see me yet. A faint smile touched my lips. Good. A pause. But it's almost time. My gaze lowered slightly. Come. Certain. Soon, you'll start looking. Rumors spread faster than fire. I expected that. Encouraged it, even. But I didn't expect him to care this quickly. The Regent is investigating the Shadow Magistrate. Lin An's voice was careful. But I could hear the tension. That was fast. Of course it was. A man like Xiao Jun. Someone disrupting order in his empire. Unacceptable. Your Highness, should we stop for now? I shook my head. No. Stopping now would mean fear. And I didn't survive a year by being careless. We continue. The city felt different. Tighter. Heavier. Guards everywhere. Not ordinary ones. Disciplined. Silent. Watching. He's serious. I pulled my mask into place. Blending into the shadows. Tonight. I'm being hunted. The warehouse ahead was too quiet. Too clean. Too perfect. A trap. Of course it was. I almost turned back. Almost. Then. Footsteps. Heavy. Measured. Unhurried. Not hidden. My eyes sharpened slightly. So it begins. From the darkness. He stepped forward. Black robes. Tall. Unshakable. A presence that pressed against the air itself. Even before I saw his face clearly. I already knew. Right on time. Xiao Jun. He didn't hide. Of course he didn't. Hunters like him never do. You've been busy. His voice was calm. Deep. Cold. I didn't respond. Didn't move. Just stood there. Hidden behind the mask. Watching him. Measuring him. Just like he was measuring me. His gaze locked onto me. Sharp. Piercing. Like he could strip everything away with a single look. You clean the streets, he said slowly. Smugglers. Corrupt officials. A pause. Yet you hide your face. Silence. Then. Why? I tilted my head slightly. Voice low. Altered. Does it matter? For a moment. Nothing moved. Not even the wind. Then. He stepped closer. Just one step. But the air tightened instantly. It does, he said. Another step. Because anything that exists in my empire. His voice lowered. Belongs under my control. There it was. Dominance. Absolute. Unquestionable. I didn't step back. Didn't lower my gaze. Instead. I met his eyes directly. Through the mask. Calm. Unafraid. Then maybe, I said quietly. You should try harder. Silence. Then. For the first time. Something shifted in his gaze. Not anger. Not surprise. Interest. Faint. But unmistakable. Good. That's what I wanted. I moved first. Not attacking. Not retreating. Disappearing. Because this wasn't a fight I needed. Not yet. By the time guards rushed in, I was already gone. Like I was never there. Back in my broken residence. The mask lay beside me. My breathing steady. Controlled. He's dangerous. Not just strong. Observant. Sharp. A faint smile formed. This is getting interesting. I didn't see it. But I knew. He wouldn't forget. Not the voice. Not the presence. Not the defiance. And I was right. He didn't stop. That was the problem. Most people, after one failure, give up. Forget. Move on. But Xiao Jun, he tightened the net. The city changed. More patrols. More inspections. More arrests. Not just criminals. Anyone suspicious. He's forcing me out. I stood by the window, watching the rooftops. If I acted, I risked exposure. If I stopped, I lost control. Annoying. Behind me, Linen spoke softly. Your Highness, people are getting scared. Of him? I asked. He shook his head. Of you. That made me smile. Just slightly. Good. A pause. Then maybe they'll finally learn. My voice lowered. To stop doing things worth fearing. Nothing changed in the palace. Servants still ignored me. Princes still mocked me. Look, the silent one is here again. Careful, he might actually speak. Laughter. I walked past them. Calm. Unbothered. Like always. But today, something's different. I felt it. Before I saw it. That presence. Heavy. Sharp. Watching. Slowly. I lifted my gaze. And there he was. At the end of the corridor. Xiao Jun. Not moving. Not speaking. Just watching me. Our eyes met. And this time, he didn't look away. Seconds passed. Too long. So you noticed. I lowered my gaze first. Playing my role. And walked past him. Slow. Steady. Wait. One word. Enough. I stopped. Turned. He was already closer. Much closer. I hadn't heard him move. His eyes scanned me. Carefully. Like I was something to be understood. Dissected. You've changed. I lowered my gaze slightly. This prince does not understand what your highness means. Silence. Then. A step closer. Too close. The pressure. Heavy. Controlled. Your eyes, he said. A pause. They're not empty anymore. For a moment. My heartbeat shifted. Just slightly. But I didn't react. People change. His gaze sharpened. They do. A pause. But not without reason. I met his eyes briefly. Then perhaps your highness hasn't been paying attention. Silence. Then. A faint curve touched his lips. Not a smile. But close. Interesting. He stepped back. You may go. I bowed slightly. Then walked away. Back in my room. I exhaled slowly. He noticed. Not everything. But enough. Linen looked worried. Your Highness, is it dangerous? Very. A pause. But useful. The hunter is getting closer. A faint smile. But he doesn't realize. I'm hunting too. The road was empty. Too empty. A single convoy stood still. No movement. No sound. How obvious. I stepped closer anyway. Mask on. Breath steady. Then. Still came. He was waiting. Not hidden. Standing in the open. Just like last time. Xiao Jun. Black robes. Calm expression. But this time, he wasn't observing. He was certain. You won't leave tonight. Not a threat. A statement. I tilted my head slightly. That confident. Before I could move. Shing. Swords. From all sides. Hidden guards emerged. Silent. Precise. Surrounding me completely. Impressive. I looked around calmly. No panic. No rush. Then back at him. But not enough. I moved first. Fast. Too fast for normal eyes. A step. A shift. A strike. The nearest guard fell before he could react. Another came. Blocked. Disarmed. Down. But they weren't the problem. He was. I felt it. That moment. When he stepped in. Everything changed. Pressure. Weight. Control. Steel met steel. Clang. My movement stopped. Too close. His hand caught my wrist. Firm. Unshakable. Got you. Low voice. Right next to me. For a split second. Time slowed. His grip. Strong. Warm. Dangerous. I didn't struggle. Not immediately. Instead, I leaned closer. Close enough that only he could hear. Then don't let go. A pause. Small. But real. That was all I needed. I twisted. Shifted my weight. Slipped out of his grip. Barely. A blade flashed. Cutting through my sleeve. His eyes sharpened. Locked onto my wrist. Just for a second. That mark. I disappeared into the dark before he could finish. Guards rushed in. Too late. I didn't stop running until I was far enough. Safe enough. Back in my room. I pulled off the mask. Breathing steady. He saw something. My gaze dropped to my wrist. That faint mark. Something the original prince had. That's bad. On the other side. I didn't see it. But I knew. He wouldn't forget. Not the closeness. Not the voice. Not the defiance. And definitely not that mark. He didn't confront me again. That was worse. Because now, he's watching. Everywhere I went. I could feel it. Not obvious. Not direct. But constant. Servants more careful. Guards appearing at odd times. Routes changing. He's testing patterns. Smart. Very smart. Just like the novel said. It happened during court. A rare day. One where even someone like me had to appear. I stood at the far end. Silent. Invisible. Like always. Until the third prince. My name. Being called. That never happened. I stepped forward slowly. Eyes lowered. Expression calm. He sat above. Xiao Jun. Effortless authority. Cold control. His gaze found me instantly. Like it had been waiting. There have been disturbances in the capital. His voice was steady. Measured. Smugglers exposed. Corrupt officials removed. A pause. Some call it justice. Another pause. Others call it interference. The court fell silent. Everyone listening. Watching. But his eyes never left me. What does the third prince think? For a moment. Even I was impressed. Public pressure. Direct test. No escape. I raised my head slightly. Met his gaze. Just enough. If wrong things are corrected, I said softly. Then it should be called justice. A ripple spread through the court. That answer. Too calm. Too direct. Not like the usual me. His eyes sharpened. And if the one doing it breaks the law? I didn't hesitate. Then perhaps the law was broken long before they acted. Silence. Complete. Heavy. Even the ministers looked stunned. Then. He leaned forward slightly. Interest. Clear now. Bold. Tell me, he continued. Does the third prince believe he understands justice? I lowered my gaze again. This prince only speaks what he sees. A pause. Understanding is beyond me. That faint, almost smile again. Is it? He waved his hand. Enough. Just like that. The pressure eased. But not really. After court. I walked out calmly. But before I could leave. Stay. Again. Everyone left. Only us. And silence. He stepped down slowly. Closer. Closer. Until. Too close. You're not as simple as they think. Not a question. A conclusion. I remained still. People often misunderstand. His hand lifted slightly. Then stopped. Hovering near my wrist. That same place. That mark. Where did you get it? My heartbeat slowed. Not raced. Since birth. Simple. True. His gaze lingered. Then. I see. But his eyes said otherwise. You may go. As I walked away. I felt it clearly. He's locked onto me. This wasn't a hunt anymore. It was a game. And I had become his favorite piece. The palace didn't change. Still cold. Still suffocating. And me. Still the useless prince. The training grounds. A mistake. Princes gathered. Laughing. Competing. And me. Standing at the edge. Watching. Leave. Too late. They saw me. Look who decided to show up. Laughter. Planning to faint again. Or just here to watch like a stray dog. I didn't react. Didn't respond. That's what they expected. A silent puppet. A wooden sword was shoved into my hands. Go on. Show us something. I looked at it. Familiar. Too familiar. If I move, I expose too much. If I don't. This continues. A shove. Hard. I stumbled slightly. Laughter followed. Annoying. Then. Silence. Sudden. Heavy. Familiar. I didn't need to turn. He's here. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. No one laughed anymore. Xiao Jun. His gaze swept across everything. Then stopped on me. What is happening here? Too calm. A prince answered quickly. Just teaching him, royal uncle. A pause. Teaching. One word. And the air dropped. He walked forward. Straight toward me. I didn't move. Didn't look up. Stayed in character. He stopped in front of me. Too close. Always too close. He took the sword from my hand. Then. Threw it. Hard. At the other prince's feet. Pick it up. Silence. The prince obeyed. Hands shaking. Since you're so eager to teach. A pause. Show me. Now. Fear spread instantly. Within moments. The prince was on the ground. Defeated. Humiliated. Xiao Jun didn't even look at him. His gaze returned to me. Useless. He said it slowly. Then stepped closer. Again. Only I get to decide that. For a moment. Everything stopped. That sentence. Wrong. Too wrong. I lowered my gaze further. Hiding everything. This prince does not understand, royal uncle. Silence. Then. A quiet exhale. Of course you don't. He turned. Walked away. Like nothing happened. But. Everything had changed. The other princes didn't speak. Didn't laugh. Didn't even look at me. Fear spreads fast. Faster than mockery. Back in my room. I sat quietly. What was that? Not kindness. Definitely not. Then. Possession. On the other side. He should have been insignificant. Just another useless prince. Weak. Silent. Forgettable. Yet. Why? Xiao Jun stood by the window. The city stretched below him. Order. Control. Everything as it should be. Except. The shadow magistrate. And. The third prince. Individually. They made sense. A hidden vigilante. A useless prince. No connection. None. But. That night. When he caught him. That moment. His wrist in his hand. That mark. Identical. Too identical. And not just that. His movements. Sharp. Efficient. Not something a useless prince should have. Then. His voice. Low. Calm. Defiant. Then don't let go. Xiao Jun's grip tightened slightly. Arrogant. Most people feared him. Avoided him. Bowed. But that man. Challenged him. Directly. Without hesitation. And the prince? That same calm. That same control. Beneath weakness. They are connected. Not confirmed. But enough. At the training grounds. That moment. The sword in his hand. The way his fingers tightened. Familiar. Too familiar. He held back. Deliberately. That realization. Didn't sit well. At all. Why hide? If he had strength. Why endure humiliation? Why stay silent? Unless. He's waiting. And if that's true. Then this game. Was no longer one-sided. Interesting. But something else. Bothered him. Something less logical. That moment. When they stood close. Too close. Close enough to feel his breath. Why didn't he pull away? Most would. Instinct. Reflex. But he didn't. Again. Then don't let go. Xiao Jun's eyes darkened slightly. Provoking me. Or. Testing him. He turned from the window. Expression cold again. Controlled. Prepare. A guard stepped forward. Your Highness. Reduce city patrols. A pause. But the shadow magistrate. He won't act under pressure. Another pause. Let him breathe. Because when prey feels safe. That's when it slips. As he walked away. One thought remained. Clear. Unavoidable. If it really is you. A pause. Then I will drag you out myself. A shadow in his empire. Or a prince in his palace. Either way. He will be mine to control. On the other side. Something felt off. Too quiet. Even for this broken place. The night air was still. Heavy. He's here. I didn't move. Didn't turn. Because I already knew. You've gotten better. His voice. Low. Close. Too close. I slowly looked up. And there he was. Inside my room. Uninvited. Unannounced. Xiao Jun. Your Highness, why are you breaking into a prince's residence? My voice stayed soft. Steady. Is that allowed? A faint shift in his gaze. If the prince is worth visiting. Arrogant. He didn't sit. Didn't relax. Just stood there. Watching me. Like I was something to be understood. Taken apart. Your habits have changed. A step closer. You walk differently. Another step. You look at people differently. Closer. Too close. I didn't move. Because stepping back would mean admitting something. People grow. Same calm answer. Not like this. His voice dropped. Show me your hand. There it was. Direct. Unavoidable. Silence stretched. Why? His eyes locked onto mine. Because I asked. I could refuse. But that would confirm everything. Too early. Too risky. So. Slowly. I raised my hand. He didn't grab it immediately. Just looked. Carefully. Then. His fingers closed around my wrist. Firm. Warm. Unavoidable. My breath almost hitched. Almost. Still the same mark. His thumb brushed over it. Slow. Deliberate. Too close. This distance. Dangerous. Not just because of exposure. Something else. I didn't pull away. Instead. Your Highness, you seem very interested. A pause. Small. But real. His grip tightened slightly. Shouldn't I be? If something suspicious is right in front of me. Silence. Neither of us moved. Then. I stepped forward. Closing the distance. Now. There was barely space between us. For the first time. He stilled. Completely. I leaned closer. Then what does your Highness think? Soft. Low. Am I suspicious? Our eyes locked. Closer than ever. Danger. Not just political. Something else entirely. Very. Low. Certain. He didn't let go. Not immediately. Then. Slowly. He released my wrist. Stay that way. And just like that. He turned. Left. Like a shadow. The room felt empty again. Too empty. I looked at my wrist. Still warm. He's getting closer. A pause. And I didn't push him away. He reduced patrols. Just like I expected. So he changed tactics. Less pressure. More silence. Which meant. He's waiting for me to slip. And tonight. I moved. Not because I had to. But because. He expected me not to. A smuggling route. Small. Hidden. Perfect bait. Let's see who catches who. I didn't sense the guards first. I sensed him. Persistent. I didn't turn. You too. When I finally faced him. He was already close. Too close. Closer than before. No guards tonight. A statement. So this is personal now. No more words. No more testing. This time. He moved first. Clash. Fast. Faster than before. Steel flashed. I blocked. Barely. His strength. Heavy. Precise. Every strike. Calculated. He's serious. Step by step. He pushed me back. Not reckless. Controlled. Like he was guiding me. Hurting me. Our distance vanished. No space. No escape. Just movement. Breath. Heat. My back hit the wall. Hard. His arm slammed beside me, blocking any way out, caging me in. Caught. Too close. His breath. Steady. His gaze. Sharp. Locked onto mine. You hesitate. Low. Dangerous. Why? Even now. I didn't panic. Didn't struggle. Instead. Maybe I'm curious. A flicker. Again. That same flicker. His hand moved. Fast. Straight to my mask. My body reacted instantly. I grabbed his wrist. Stopped him. But. Too late. The mask shifted. Slightly. Just enough. For him to see. Everything froze. His eyes. Locked onto my face. Not fully revealed. But enough. Enough to recognize. You. I pushed him back. Hard. Enough to break the moment. No hesitation. I disappeared. I didn't stop running. Not until I was far enough. Far enough to breathe. My hand rose to my face. The mask. Still there. But barely. He saw. Not everything. But enough. Enough to remember. That outline. That familiarity. It's over. Not completely. But. Too close. I miscalculated. That was the only thought. I escaped. From him. From that moment. But not cleanly. A blade. Not his. Cut across my side. Shallow. But enough. Annoying. I dealt with him quickly. Then left. By the time I returned, blood had already soaked through my clothes. My steps slowed. Vision blurred. Linen rushed forward. Your Highness. Quiet. I shut the door behind me. It's nothing. A lie. A necessary one. You're injured, let me call a physician. No. Too fast. Too dangerous. No one can know. I barely reached the bed. When? The air shifted. Again. You never learn. My body froze. Slowly. I looked up. Xiao Jun. Standing there. Like he had always been. He followed me. For the first time. I couldn't hide it. The blood. The wound. Everything. Exposed. His gaze dropped instantly. To my side. Injured. Low. Controlled. But underneath. Something else. Not calm. It's nothing. Same words. But weaker. He didn't argue. Didn't question. He just walked closer. Direct. Unstoppable. Too close. Again. But this time. Different. His hand reached out. And before I could stop him, he pulled my robe aside. The wound. Fresh. Still bleeding. For a moment. Nothing. Silence. Idiot. His voice. Lower. Not cold. Not mocking. Something else. Sit. Not a suggestion. An order. I didn't resist. Couldn't. He moved naturally. Like he had done this before. Clean cloth. Water. Pressure. Precise. Careful. Why? This man. Who hunted me. Who suspected me. Was now. Treating my wound. I watched him. Silent. Too close. Too real. You shouldn't interfere in things beyond you. He said it quietly. While cleaning the blood. And what if I already have? A pause. His hand stilled. Just for a second. Then you'll suffer for it. His fingers pressed harder. Not enough to truly hurt, but enough to remind. He leaned closer. Too close. You're reckless. You have no idea. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Why help me? Silence. Long. Heavy. Then. Because you're mine to deal with. That word again. Mine. But this time. It didn't feel like control. It felt dangerous. When he finished, he stood. Stepped back. Distance returned. Don't get injured again. That depends. A pause. On you. Sharp. Brief. Then. He turned. Left. I leaned back slowly. The room fell quiet again. My fingers brushed the bandage. Still warm. This is getting complicated. He came to confirm his suspicion. But instead, he stayed. A few days later. It was bound to happen. People don't like losing power. Or money. Especially not both. They're moving. Linen looked tense. More than usual. Your Highness, several merchant groups are gathering. A complaint. He shook his head. A bounty. A pause. On me. Not the prince. The shadow magistrate. They don't know who you are, Linen continued. But they've started targeting anyone suspicious. So they're desperate. I leaned back slightly. How many? At least 7 major groups. 7. Money. Influence. Connections. Troublesome. That night. I moved anyway. Because stopping now means losing everything I built. But this time, something was different. Not clean. Not quiet. The moment I stepped into the alley. Now. They rushed me. Not guards. Not soldiers. Hired killers. Messy. Chaotic. Blades from every side. I moved fast. But there were too many. So this is their plan. Overwhelm. No strategy. Just numbers. A cut across my arm. Another near miss. Annoying. But then. Something changed. They weren't just attacking. They were watching. Careful, one shouted. Don't damage his face. They suspect. Not fully. But enough. That changed everything. I needed to end this. Fast. I moved sharper. Faster. Precise. One by one. They fell. But still. Too many. A blade came from behind. Too fast. To block. Clang. Steel struck steel. The sound cut through everything. Late. I didn't turn. Because I already knew. Xiao Jun. Standing between me and the attacker. His presence. Changed everything. Instantly. So many. His voice was calm. Too calm. Trying to kill one person. The attackers hesitated. Just for a second. That was enough. He moved. And it ended. Fast. Brutal. Clean. Not a fight. A slaughter. I watched silently. He's serious. Within moments. No one was left standing. The alley fell silent. Heavy. Then. His gaze shifted. To me. You attract trouble. It seems so. He stepped closer. Checking. My arm. The cut. Injured again. His fingers brushed my sleeve. Light. Deliberate. You didn't run. I smirked slightly. And missed the fun. A faint breath. Not quite a laugh. Reckless. You followed me. No. A pause. I was already here. Liar. For a moment. Silence. Then. Stay closer to the palace. Not advice. An order. A warning. Worried. His gaze darkened. Annoyed. He turned. Like always. Leaving first. But this time. It felt different. A few days later. The summons came. Suddenly. Court. Again. Troublesome. The moment I stepped in. Something felt wrong. Tension. Heavy. Ministers whispering. Generals silent. Even the emperor. Serious. Reports from the northern borders. A minister stepped forward. Bandits have grown bold. Supply routes are being attacked. Not ordinary bandits. Another voice cut in. They are organized. Almost like an army. My gaze shifted. Slightly. Xiao Jun stood among the generals. Still. Silent. But I could feel it. He already knew. The regent will go. The emperor's voice was final. No one else is more suitable. Of course. If something threatens the empire, send the strongest blade. And then. A voice. Smooth. Careful. Your Majesty, if I may suggest something. One of the princes. The same one from before. Here it comes. The third prince. A pause. Should accompany the regent. Silence. Then. Whispers. Soft. Sharp. To learn. To gain experience. To understand responsibility. Excuses. All of them. They want me gone. Dangerous roads. Unstable borders. If I die. No one questions it. I didn't look at him. But I could feel it. That gaze. Sharp. Watching me. The third prince. I stepped forward. Calm. Expression neutral. This son will obey. Because refusing would be suspicious. Then it is settled. Just like that. My fate was decided. After court. I walked out quietly. Like always. But before I could leave. Stay. Again. We were alone. His gaze. Colder than before. Sharper. You agreed too easily. It is an order. A step closer. You know it's dangerous. So. Silence. Heavy. You could die. I met his gaze. Briefly. Then I'll try not to. A flicker. Irritation. Or something else. Stay close to me. Not advice. An order. Why? His gaze didn't waver. Because I said so. Unreasonable. He stepped closer. Too close. Or because I don't want to deal with your corpse. That tone. Careless. But not entirely. He turned. Left first. Like always. I stood there. Still. This is bad. Not the journey. Not the danger. Being near him for that long. This was only the beginning. What comes next will change everything. Like, comment, and subscribe. Part 2 is coming.